Hello there guys, it's time for more Civilization 5, playing as the English. We've managed to pretty much clear the little island that we're on. It should be completely devoid of barbarians now. Now let me just tell you quickly what I'm thinking at the moment. Obviously we want to go for a domination victory, which means we are going to have to start attacking other civs. One of the ones I really do want to have a crack at early on is Austria, if I can do. Mainly because they have the Great Lighthouse, and it would be really nice to have that as part of my empire. There are a couple that we're going to struggle with, like the Incans, for example, because they don't actually seem to have their capital on the coast. It could be, of course, it could be just here. It could be inland. We'll have to sort of uncover these clouds to find out. But I'm left with two options, really. I can either try and amass a land force, take them across the water, and land them and try and attack somewhere. Which can be quite costly because it's going to take a fair bit of time to build up a force, and of course they're quite easy to lose and they're difficult to reinforce. They take a long time to get anywhere. Or I could just hang back, try and deal with the problems I've got in my own empire, build up my science, build up my happiness, and get ready for taking a lot of cities later on, and just kind of build up my civilization until we get to the Renaissance era, when I can actually start building decent ships. Obviously we have Genghis Khan at war with Bismarck. Berlin's already blockaded, so Khan's probably got one of his units around Berlin. Now, Berlin could possibly fall to Genghis Khan, but that's not a problem because you have to hold all the capital cities, which means we could go and take it back off Khan later on if we wanted to. We still need to grow York because it's not doing particularly well. Let's go on to the next turn. Of course, we have Edinburgh. We still only have one worker. This is probably the point where we could actually do with an extra one, but I think Edinburgh is actually a better city for us. Now, one of the good things is with playing the domination victories, as you start to capture other cities, you tend to get cities that are already sort of pre-built, which makes things a lot better for you. So, yeah, those guys were just having a sneaky little look over there, and as suspected, the place is empty. We've got rid of all the barbarians on this map. It doesn't mean that they can't respawn, of course, because barbarians can spawn anywhere in a tile that doesn't currently have a view on. So, a lot of stuff has just happened there. What has just happened there? Germany has enhanced their religious beliefs. Now, we have 2 spies. So, what should we be doing? Well, I think, first of all, we should probably move one into Austria, I think, as a spy. If we can steal some tech, let's steal some tech. And we're also going to move one into, I'm going to say Germany, because they seem to have the highest population at the moment, so we're also going to move in there as a spy. Now, we're not too bothered about causing problems with diplomatic relations, because of course we're going to be going to war with all of these people at some point anyway. We want to avoid the war happening too early on, but it's going to happen eventually, so trying to keep everybody friendly isn't necessarily our biggest concern at the moment. Again, there's still going to be a few turns of doing not an awful lot, but we can't really do an awful lot about that. So, let's move you guys into friendly territory. We'll upgrade these guys as soon as we can afford it into Longbowmen, which is the first of the 2 English unique units. Now, London has now finished the market. Now, one of my viewers did mention, and I kind of ignored this because I went straight for the lighthouse. I have a habit when I'm sort of recording of not reading tooltips properly, and there are so many things that I always generally forget to read them. One of the reasons why I skip the stable is because I just think 15% production when building mounted units. Am I building mounted units? No, not really, so what's the point? But of course, each source of horses, sheep and cattle worked by the city produce +1 production. Well, we have a horse and 2 sheep, so that would give us +3 production. So having a stable would put us up from 18 up to 21. So that's quite a significant step up. So we are going to go for a stable. So thanks for pointing out that I missed that. It was my own derpiness not really concentrating on what I was doing. York has grown in size. Of course, it's mainly working water tiles at the moment. Now, Austria wants to give us gold and open borders for truffles. I'm not going to say no for that. Because potentially I could go and have a scout around and see what she's got over on this side. Now, of course, you can't really get in someone's borders and declare war because it'll automatically pop you out. Oh, look at that. Barbarians. Wouldn't you believe it? Well, you guys can heal up and go back down and deal with them. Hopefully you'll be able to deal with them on your own. Of course, we could get these guys across. We can upgrade them to a composite bowman. We can't, unfortunately, afford to upgrade them again. Of course, they will actually heal because they haven't actually taken an action this turn. So those workers have got those truffles connected up. We already have a camp on that one, I believe. Yes, we do. So where would be the best place to go? We could go over here on to this hill, and we could build another mine. That would certainly give us some production. It's probably worth doing that. Cargo ship, let's continue to go to York and carry food across. Hopefully we can get it to grow, but we do need some border growth in York. That is one of the major problems that we have at the moment. We're literally trying to live off water tiles. Which I guess is another good reason for placing cities on one of these inland hexes, because you will have more land hexes to start with initially. The Great Wall has been built in a land far away. Now, the Great Wall can be a bit of a pain because it does make moving melee units through, or sort of land units through, more difficult. We are dropping really far down in the tech, but that's not too much of a big problem. Discovered barbarians up there. That's a lot of barbarians, but they are not our problem. Okay, what have we got going on? Who has built the Great Wall? We do not know, but we can soon find out. Great Lighthouse, Great Wall. Ah, it's the Incans have built the Great Wall. So we're going to have a few big powers to deal with. Now, Edinburgh has finished its lighthouse. What could we go for here? Temple would be good to get us the extra faith. I don't think we're going to be building an awful lot of land units from here. So let's get the temple going for the time being. You guys might as well heal up. You guys might as well also heal up. Now, for some reason, I can't get them to longbowmen. Maybe we haven't got that tech yet. Did I miss that one? Ah, yes, we need machinery first. So, we're not going to be able to get that until after we get engineering. But still, composite bowmen are a lot better than the standard bowmen that we were using. So, we're going for drama and poetry. Then we will most likely go for engineering. So, let's get that queued up. And then we may well go for machinery. Could be useful to us. It's only really useful to us to get the longbowmen, actually, because faster movement on the roads isn't going to be that important early on. I'm not going to make my decision where I'm going to go next from there. It would be nice to get the longbowmen, but they are not essential. You guys are going to build a mine. Let's get some more production going at Edinburgh. So Edinburgh may become our unofficial capital. It may end up being a more fruitful city. Maria has completed Alhambra, so we are starting to get a lot of pressure now from the AI. What is drama and poetry is now complete. Now, as you can see, our spy in Austria, she's constructing the Forbidden Palace. So once you get onto the King difficulty, the AI really likes to start pumping out the wonders. Right, you guys are fully healed, and you've also been upgraded as much as you can. So what we are going to do is get you guys landed so we can hopefully deal with this barbarian camp. You want me to go to war with Genghis. I'm not going to get involved with that right now. And hopefully once we manage to get our navy, things will really turn around for us. Isn't an awful lot we can do, unfortunately. As you can see, we can embark, so we can take land units across the water, but it's always quite a risky thing to do. They're very, very vulnerable when they're crossing the water, so they're nice. They can, you know, quite easily be destroyed. This is that deal that I fluffed on the last game because I ended up accidentally giving away silver for free, which I don't want to do, so I'm going to refuse that deal. We'll see if we can spark a new one and get something in return for it. because we now have happiness at -1. So let's go into Maria Theresa.
Grüß Gott.
And look at trade. Now, what are you willing to give me for this is what I should have clicked. 6 gold per turn. Well, that would be nice, but it doesn't actually help me to gain any happiness. So what I need to do is find someone that actually has a spare resource. Just out of interest, what would you be willing to give me for this? Nothing. It's always worth checking with Spain because I think Spain are... Oh, no, it's not Spain, is it? One of the civilizations has a unique that allows them to give away their last resource and still get half the happiness from it, even if they've given it away. So it's worth checking out, but I don't think it's Spain. I think Spain actually get double happiness from them or something like that. So if we look into the diplomacy overview and we look at relationships, we can actually see what everybody has and if everybody has anything extra. And looking through this, nobody actually has anything spare. Except horses and iron, which I don't really need. Now that's a bit of a shame. So at the very least, I might as well go for the gold. So what will you give me for this? 6 gold per turn for 30 turns. Fair enough. I was giving her the silver anyway. At least I'm getting some money for it this time around. Now then, let's get you guys up to there. Right, archers versus archers. However, we are the stronger archers, so we are in a better position here. They may shoot at us. Of course, it's all giving us culture. Our culture growth is quite slow at the moment. We certainly need to get some more cultural buildings on the go where we can. We have a great profit, so there's a start. So the first thing we're going to do is take these guys and fire over here. That should do a significant amount of damage. That's more than half of them gone already. Let's go and find our great prophet. And we are going to found a religion. Someone's stolen my Christian cross, which is a little bit of a shame. So we'll nick the Shinto one for now. Vaultology, because I'm very unoriginal, and that's what I always go for. So founder belief, this is what I will get. So, 1 happiness for every 2 cities following the religion. Now, that could be quite useful, because we certainly are going to need a lot of happiness. Of course, it does mean we need to play the religious game and actually start getting units out there and converting cities. Although, we'll certainly be in a better position to do that when we have lots of cities. Global happiness for every 8 followers of the religion in non-enemy foreign cities. Which is going to be difficult, because we're going to have a lot of enemies. I think the best one for us probably is the ceremonial burial. Let's try and get some additional happiness. And then follower beliefs, which is for any city that follows. Shrines provide +1 happiness in cities with 3 followers. That could also be very useful. Gardens provide 2 happiness in the city. That is probably more useful. Yeah, I think we're going to go for peace gardens. Happiness is going to be our biggest problem, especially once we start going to war with people. So, very, very important that we get that sorted. London's now finished its stable. Now, we should probably go for something like the National Epic now. It'd be really good for us, because that would give us extra culture. And it also speed up the great person generation. Let's go on to the next turn. What I might actually do, all things considered, is get rid of that catapult, because catapults are siege weapons, and I don't really have any land cities to siege anymore, not unless I want to start taking out. The reason I kept it is because at the time I didn't know if there were going to be any more cities down here. As it turns out, there aren't, so it's probably a little bit pointless keeping that. There we go. Hopefully we can get there in a couple of turns before they respawn. Now, the thing to remember is, yes, I could just keep this and then upgrade it to trebuchets when I get the technology, and then upgrade it to cannons when I get the technology, and then upgrade it to artillery. And by the time you've done that 3 times, you might as well have just gotten rid of it and then bought a new unit when the time comes, because the amount of gold you actually spend... I mean, I've got 18 gold back from selling it. I'm currently making 22 gold per turn. If I sell this... I'm now making 24, so it was costing me 2 gold per turn just to keep it on the map. So you think that over, you know, just over 30 turns, you've already spent 60 gold on it, so... Right, the Swedish have actually slipped down the board a little bit. Genghis Khan's now gone right down to the bottom.
Instrumental on
We've now researched engineering, which is good. Someone has stolen masonry from London. Now, not too bothered, because what you've got to remember is that people stealing techs from you usually usually have less tech than you. And obviously, I'd prefer to use my spies to steal from somebody else at the moment, that especially as we get an extra one, than to actually have one on counterintelligence. So if it happens too often, that is something that we will very much have to consider. So metal casting would give us the forge and the workshop. Now that could be quite useful actually, thinking about it. I know I said that we do want to rush down towards a compass and navigation, but we don't have a lot of science, which means it takes a long while to get there. Metal casting would be useful because the workshop would allow me to move production to York instead of food. And that would be quite good for us because then we could actually get York up and running as a much more useful capital, or much more useful city. So we've built our mine and got ourselves some extra production for Edinburgh. We could go over here and build another mine, I suppose. Probably the most sensible thing to do. So let's head on over there. I don't think we've had any... oh, we have had a bit of additional border growth over here. So we could potentially go and get these truffles connected up. We'll probably do that when they're finished doing this. Now, you guys won't get there in one turn, unfortunately, because it's on a hill. But on the next turn, we should be able to nab that. And that'll be a bit more extra gold in the bank. We can have another trade route, of course, now. Although, I don't think we've actually got anybody else that we can trade with at the moment. And we've got another barbarian encampment. Apparently it's the one we already knew about. So we're going to take that. Or was it? Oh no, it's another one up there. Not too much of a problem. Okay. Of course we could always try and build another cargo ship up here, for example, at York. And it might be able to reach Berlin. It's always a possibility. But we'll see what else we need to do first. You guys have healed up, so we're going to bring you back to friendly territory. And let's go on to the next turn. Still haven't got up to that sort of 200th turn yet. I think that's where the turns are going to start getting more interesting, where we're going to have more things to do. But we certainly need to get things like our science and culture up so that we have a chance of catching up with the AI at least. Okay, so let's have a look at what we've got here. We almost certainly... Well, it's saying he wants to build a farm there. I don't think you do. I think I'll still go for a mine, and we'll get this going as a bit of a production city. We could always then build something like a trading post on this desert tile, which could be quite useful to us. Now, we've apparently stolen technology from Germany. We get to pick which we would like. Now, we get the choice of theology or civil service. My mouse is going bonkers at the moment. Just bear with me, because sometimes it's a laser mouse, and sometimes it decides it doesn't want to go up and down anymore. I'm just going to smash it on the... There we go. Strange thing. So, as you can see, all of these ones are locked, but it does show us what we can nick, which I think was... civil service or theology. They're both the same sort of distance through the tech tree. Let's go for theology, because that gives us gardens, which we get the additional happiness for with our religion. Of course, that's once we've adopted the religion. But it also helps to bump us towards compass and education. So that is the most useful one that we could get there. So we have stolen theology from the Germans. They're not going to be happy about it, but they're going to be even less happy when we go to war with them. So let's go on to the next turn. Edinburgh's nearly finished its construction of a temple, which is going to help with the faith generation. Now, one thing you don't want to do here is if you say that you don't want to spy on him anymore, and then you do spy on him, you will get penalised because you will be denounced. So at least being honest is the best policy. It's a little tricky thing, but yeah, lying is not good, because if you lie, it's like if you promise not to settle near someone and then you settle near them, or if you promise not to spy on them and then you spy on them, what will happen is they'll denounce you and then everyone will start to turn against you, and you really don't want to have to deal with everybody at the same time. That is a little bit problematic. We've accumulated enough faith in one city to buy something with faith. That'll be York. Obviously, York has the religion of Germany, which would actually allow us to buy ourselves a... God, we can't afford it yet. The pagoda, which could be quite good, actually. It would give us +2 happiness and +2 culture and +2 faith. So we may do that before we actually end up converting York. That's certainly something worth thinking about. So Edinburgh's now finished its temple. We could go for the food growth, or we could go for the garden. The garden, mind you, we don't have the religion here yet, so it's a bit pointless. So we will go for the aqueduct and get the size of the city up. Mouse seems to be working now, by the way, which is going to be more helpful. I suppose I'll just get these guys back over to friendly territory, and then we'll end up getting more barbarians appear, which is usually what happens. I mean, yes, there are still a few resources on this land, on this island, that I haven't capitalised on. I think the only unique resource here at the moment is the actual marble. So I could go and get that. But in order to get that, I would literally be building in the desert. And there's very, very little around it. Yes, we get some extra food from the sheep. But the rest of the desert tiles are pretty poor. And there seems very, very little. I suppose, how far is that wheat away? Yeah, 4 tiles. So I could build here, possibly. And then I would have access to the wheat, the sheep, the marble, the sea tiles. Although they are in range of London. 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, they're not. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, that might actually not be a bad tile. It'll be off to a slow start, but I'll have access to marble, sheep, wheat, horses, and 2 fish. And it will give us another unique resource. But we will, of course, end up having to expend another city to do it. But we're starting to run out of things that we can build at the city, so it might not be a bad idea. So I'm certainly going to give that some consideration. It might not be the best option, but it is an option. And Petra has been built in the land far away. Now, like I've said, never worry too much about the scores. It is sometimes disheartening to see you slide down, but when people start getting things like religion, I mean, look, we're only 1 point behind Germany, so we're potentially almost 4th, which is halfway. And that's not bad considering that we actually have penalties and the AI have bonuses. So it's much easier for them. Okay, that's another barbarian camp that's miles away. Not too bothered about that. London. What are we going to do here at London? It would be nice to get all the libraries up and built, but we still need to get a library in York. I'm not sure if we can afford to buy it. Let's just have a look. Can we purchase a library in York? No, it's 400 gold. We can do that on the next turn, though. So, let's have a look at London again. Can we build something that is really quick? 4 turns for a settler. I think we should get a settler going in London and go and build that other city down there. It might be a bad idea, but let's see what happens. Certainly get a bit of production from desert tiles, so production is always a nice thing to have. Obviously we want to make sure that we can supply it quite quickly, because the more cities you have, you've got to remember, of course, the more cities you have, it makes your sciences more expensive. That's actually quite a consideration. I've changed my mind, actually. I've changed my mind. The reason I've changed my mind is because, think about it. If I build an extra city here for the sake of getting myself 1 extra resource, I'm going to gain unhappiness anyway by having an extra city. I am It's going to take a while to grow because there isn't an awful lot of food around. It's going to increase the cost of my social policies. It's going to increase the cost of my science. And I'm not producing the greatest amount of culture or science at the moment anyway. So I think for the time being, we're going to leave that. I might build another city down here at some point in the future, just so it's next to the mountains and I can have an observatory. That could be quite useful. But I think at the moment, building another settler is probably a bad idea. So I'm going to go to York. I am going to purchase the library. I am going to go to London and change production. And now we're going to pick the National College, which will give us an extra culture per turn, an extra 50% science, and an extra +3 to the base science. That will help us out nicely. And then go on to the next turn. I think that is the better option. Now I have another hill over here, so we could certainly build ourselves another mine. Get a bit of extra production going at London. That would not be a bad thing to do. I think I will also get another cargo ship built, just to see what we can do. Nothing particularly interesting has happened. Bismarck has made peace with Genghis Khan. Doesn't look like anybody particularly lost or gained anything that I can see, but of course quite a lot of it is in the fog of war, so we can't see entirely what's gone on there. Happiness is slipping back down again, unfortunately, so you really do have to be careful. It's very, very easy to lose happiness as your cities grow. I think you get to a point where you need to tell your cities to avoid growth, because it's not necessarily giving you much of a gain. Well, that's an Austrian trireme getting attacked there. So, we can steal another technology from Germany. He's not doing very good, is he? He hasn't managed to actually get a counter-spy in there and stop us. So, we can get Compass. Now, that's pushed us quite high up the tech ladder. And she's been promoted. Now, I think what I'd like to do here is to actually move her and put her somewhere else where she's not as likely to get caught. Although Germany do have the most tech. Of course, there is the possibility that she will get... Mind you saying that, I don't think I will move her. We'll see how well this works, because the thing is, she's now a level 3 spy. And I bet Germany doesn't have a level 3 spy, which probably means she'll be able to steal from them again without getting caught. So, it's a risk. I could lose her, but I do have an extra spy to start with, so it's not the end of the world. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to trudge over here, we'll put a trading post down, and then we'll move over and get those truffles connected up. Let's go on to the next turn. We can actually have 4 trade routes now, of course, because that has moved us into another era, so we definitely need to get trade routes up and running now. We can also start building harbours at our cities and get them all connected up. That will certainly help us out with gold, because we do have a bit of a happiness problem. We've now got metal casting, so quite a lot has happened on this round. We can now choose a new technology. I'm tempted now to go into civil service and then education, because that means when I steal from somebody again, there's a chance that I'll be able to get astronomy, if anybody has it, and it will certainly help us with our science. So we're going to go civil service into education, so I'm just going to click on education and it'll do it that way automatically for me. Saying that though, we actually have, we can steal a technology, and we can steal civil service. It would be nice to have the longbowmen, just so I can show you guys, but I don't really need them yet. So we're actually going to go for civil service, which means we're now instantly working on education, which is brilliant. Edinburgh, I think what we're going to do here is get a harbour going. And we're going to try and get harbours going on all of our cities to get them all connected up, because we're not bothering with roads. And that will certainly help things out with money, and I think it affects happiness as well. I'm not 100% certain if it does, but it certainly will help us with our money problems. So I think we will make our moves on... Yeah, my agents go where they please. Go and do one. So I think what we're going to do is we will finish off the last turn, and then we'll call that a video. Probably end up being nothing I can do on the next turn now, but hey-ho. Still making bit of money. Problems with Mongolia stealing engineering. At least we know who stole from us this time. Not going to do an awful lot about it at this point. Doesn't seem any reason to do it. And, well, let's click next turn anyway, because we couldn't do anything on this particular turn. Unit needs orders, which are these guys. It says farm, but I think I'm actually going to build a trading post there, so we can use it as a way to get some extra gold. Quick click of next turn, because we didn't get to do anything. Nothing happened. So, Forbidden Palace, well, we knew that Austria was building that, so it should be no surprise to us that that has now appeared. We have now actually beaten Bismarck, because obviously you do get points for the number of technologies that you have. And now that I'm sort of creeping up the board technology-wise, and another turn where nothing happens. Of course, the unhappiness is still an issue. We need to keep our eye on that very much so. At least London has now become religious and is following Voltology. Maybe we can get a pagoda built over here if we're quick enough before it converts over. Because it's got the same pressure from both at the moment. Getting a lot of turns here where not much is happening and I can't really do anything. We're just waiting to get various levels in tech. We can build galleasses, of course, so we do have a way of starting to build a navy, but they're not going to be that useful to us early on. It's mainly going to be ship-to-ship warfare. It isn't going to help us in capturing other cities, so it does seem a little bit pointless. But there we go, that's about all I can do for now. It's not been as much progress made on this episode as I would have liked, although we have got ourselves a fair few extra technologies, which is always good. We've wiped out a couple more barbarian camps, and we've almost got the National College at London, so that should help our science quite a lot. So I did stall my science early on, which was a bad thing, but hopefully we can sort that out. It might be worth building a city over here, to be honest. We would be able to work Uluru, which would certainly give us extra faith as well as food. And we'd also get copper, which means we'd get happiness from copper and we'd get another copper to sell. So I might, because I've already invested one turn into that settler, I may well build another, carry on building it and move it over here. Possibly in this hex where this forest is. Because 1, 2, 3, yeah, we'd have access to food, we'd have to fish, to sheep, to 2 copper, to more fish, to Uluru. Yeah, I think that might actually be worth doing. It's probably the one spot on this island where it is worth having one more city. Of course, it would also put us a little bit closer to Kathmandu, which means we could potentially trade with them more easily. Oh, I tell a lie. Mongolia has actually captured Hamburg, so the Germans did lose a city in all of that. At least we can pretty much see the entirety of Berlin now. It's on quite a small island. They don't appear to have much in the way of an army, so there is a good possibility that we could take Berlin if we put our minds to it. So that might be the plan while we build up to take on Austria. So there you go, guys. I hope you are still enjoying the series, and I'll see you next time. So until then, goodbye for now.